Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to do a review and full breakdown on the brand new Huda Beauty New Nudes palette. This is the latest eyeshadow palette from Huda Beauty. Let's just get right into it. First and foremost, the packaging. Really different from her other palettes. You have a pretty translucent box, and then when you open it, this inside is the palette. So all of her palettes actually have like a screenshot of her eyes across the front, and this one is pretty much the same, but it's in much lighter colors, and it says nude in really pretty holographic writing. When you open the palette, you get a little inlay to cover all the eyeshadows with the same graphic from the front. And then this here is what the palette looks like. You do get a mirror on that side of the palette. So now let's talk about the colors you get inside. Now this is called the new nude palette. So technically these colors are what she considers nudes, and I personally would actually agree with that. As you can see, there are a couple neutral shades, but there's a lot of pinks and purples and mauve-y undertone shades, and there are a few metallic and shimmery shades as well. So it's not really what you would think about with a typical nude eyeshadow palette, but I like this take on it because there are so many nude eyeshadow palettes. But this is something a little more unique, which I feel is one extra point to justify the cost, because this is not a cheap palette. They all apply really beautifully. Her matte shades are always so stunning. They blend out really easily. You can intensify them really nicely. They don't all blend into one shade, which I really like. A lot of times with colors that are in a similar family, once you get them all in the eye, it just looks like you have one shade on your entire eye. But this has colors that are just different enough in their undertone that you still get variation. They build up beautifully. You can really smoke them out. None of them that I've worked with thus far are patchy, and I have worked with pretty much all of them. Let's talk about what makes this palette different. It's primarily, in my opinion, two things besides the color options. One is that it comes with a concealer. So this down here says concealed, and it is actually almost like an eyeshadow primer, but it is like a concealer. So what's nice about this is carving out and cutting the crease is a huge thing. And also, if you don't necessarily want to have a primer on you, it comes into the palette, which is really nice, especially because of the textures within this palette, which brings me to the second point that really is a massive standout item for me with this palette: these metallic shades that are in here. The metallic shades are not your typical metallic foiled finish eyeshadow. There is one that's like a berry color here, but in these four, you can see misshapen flecks of different colors. It creates such a multi-dimensional eyeshadow effect. I was completely blown away. It is the most unique holographic wet looking effect on the lids. They blend out really easily. There was little to almost no fallout. Now I would suggest using your fingers when you are applying all of the glittery shades that she has in here. It's the most potent way to apply them, and they blend out really easily with the fingers, but you can get payoff with a brush. Like on my inner corner, I went into this pink shade with this Cover FX blemish primer brush, so it's almost like just a concealer brush, and I was able to get some payoff in the inner corner. But the potency with your fingers and also the accuracy and how intense it shows up on the lids is way better with your fingers over a brush. Now, if you are using a brush, I would also maybe suggest using a damp brush just to really give you that foiled effect. And rather than patting it on the lid, I would drag it onto the lid. So I like to drag my shadows down and then kind of sweep them across to blend them. And that, I feel, kind of breaks the pigment apart enough where you get that super wet, glassy, foiled finish looking lid. Now these two shades here are actually glitter shades, which she has a very similar shade in the Desert Dusk eyeshadow palette, which I also really love. And it's pretty much just pure pressed glitter. It's almost like a top coat, but they are incredibly pigmented and heavily packed for a glitter. So while you can put this on top of another shadow, I feel like if you really packed it on, maybe on top of the concealer or a different like glitter adhesive or primer, you really could get away with just packing those shades straight onto the lid with a great color payoff. Like if I go in here, do you see that? It just looks completely like foiled glitter goodness. I love using those shades and even the metallic shades as toppers. So the glitter ones, especially the Desert Dust palette, I found that I reached in it all the time because any look I did, I would just grab a little bit of the glitter, pop it onto the center of my lid, and it just amplified the look that I was going for. I feel like you could wear a really simple light eye look, but pop those on in the inner third or in the center of the lid, and it won't be so crazy over the top, wow, she has a full lid of glitter, but you definitely get that wet, foiled looking lid with minimal effort. It's so user-friendly, which is something that I really appreciate. I understand that it is pricey, but in my opinion, it is worth it because you get bang for your buck and you get variety and just something different. And this would be great for anybody with any makeup preference because you can do really dramatic looks with this, but you can also do very light, pretty, feminine looks. A+, love this. That brings me to the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little review on the new Nude Huda Beauty eyeshadow palette. If you've tried the palette, leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought about it because I'm curious to see if anybody else loves this palette as much as I've been enjoying it. But until my next video, thank you guys as always so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you soon. Bye!